Hello, folks. I am back with the firearm shooting impression of the Sauer P320X5. And I really enjoyed myself shooting this today. And I will tell you, I will go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, we can cancel out the ugly because this is a very attractive looking firearm. Let me start by saying this. This firearm is really a good shooter. Flat shooting. And one of the most important things is when you have a firearm is you want to be able to have a decent grip and good purchase on the firearm. And I really have that with this. I don't, usually with other firearms, you might have to make change your hand grip. Some other firearms have very good, let's say, pieces to the receiver that they can take off. They can take off back straps, like the VP9 can have side panels to that you can adjust your hand to. This right out the gate, all I had to do is just grab it, and there's no problem. And I had to really just get a high grip on it. Like I said earlier, there is no ugly with this, but I will tell you of one bad, and I'll get to that. Going on with the good, we have here, this is, like I said earlier, it is a good flat shooter. One of the things that I did have to adapt to was the sights, and this sight post in the front is very thin, but you can still pick up that little fiber optic dot in the front there. I don't know if you can see that well, but you could pick that up. In the blacked out rear, you can pretty much acquire it. But at first I had a little bit of a problem, but it just was a matter of getting used to that size a dot on there. It's kind of reminiscent of the fiber optic dot that's on the, I would say, the CZ97B, and it has that on there. Like I said, it's a very good shooter. Before I go any further, let me show clear, nothing in the magazine. And here you go here. It's clear, the chamber's clear, and so forth. And pardon me, it is dirty. I just got this back from the range, and it is a great shooter. One of the things is once you're firing this firearm, it's just tracks very well. I mean, I felt as though I shot this really good out of the box. I could just tell you it's a really good out of the box. So instead of me keep repeating myself, let me just show you some targets that I want to get to. And let me show you, these are my first 50 shots on this particular target. And this is at 7 yards. I didn't know where to place my sight. Like I said, I was trying to get used to it. This is the actual first shot. Down low, not what I like. And then I moved my targeting right here. I tried a 6 o'clock hold at first, but then I tried to basically adjust as needed. And again, here a little low and dead on. It was right here, dead on. A little bit to the left, but I'm going to work on that a little bit later. And this is just great tact driving. I'm not going to take credit for the shooting. I'm going to give this all to the firearm. The firearm is very good. All you have to do is pull the trigger. And I'll talk to you about that finger placement for the trigger. Here again, I'm just feeling my way around at 7 yards here. And the shots, I mean, I really felt very comfortable with this firearm. And I was really happy, especially with this, and the way I shot with this. I do have to make a little bit more adjustments, I think. And I'll tell you where I made the adjustments on here. Here is the second target. Second target is sent out at let's say I started at 10 yards, and my 10-yard shots were like a little bit out to the left and down low. So I had to make some adjustments, and what I did was the further out was going with the target, I was hitting too high or whatnot. So completely forgot I can adjust the rear sights. So what I did was I adjusted the rear sights to what I was comfortable with, and you can't see it here, but this is because this is all the shots probably prior to uh, me shooting this out over here. But once I made the adjustments with the rear sight, I was heading dead on in the center and the rear, the red right here. So that really, really impressed me. Then I got a little cocky and I sent that out to 13 yards, 13 and then 15 yards. As you see, and I was shooting at a fast pace. So I wanted, because the firearm tracks quickly down, I was able to keep it at least in the vicinity here, as you see with my fist. At least I was able to keep the target, my shots here. If I had any other firearm that didn't track very well, I think I would have been shooting all a little bit too spread out and in the black. So that is a tribute to the firearm, not my shooting ability. So I think uh, because the firearm tracks well, and because all the way the slide is made, the weighting in the rear of the firearm, it has that weight to counterbalance it in the rear. And let me bring back the firearm real quick. You all know that there is a weight here. I think you can see it. There is a weight here that's made into the polymer frame that enables the firearm to counterbalance. So you won't have that heaviness in the front. It kind of like helps you to even out. And as well with the aluminum magazine. Like I said, I did make adjustments here in the rear just to make sure I can get the firearm to acquire the target like I want to. There were no malfunctions whatsoever with this firearm. I'm going to just show you what it looks like here. I'll clean that up right here. I'm not sure if that's a little bit of wear or because it came greased with the factory grease. I know I should have cleaned it first, but this is the factory grease here, and I will clean it. I've shot roughly about 150 rounds through this, and like I said, I'm pretty much impressed on how this shot. Now for the bad. I did tell you that there was bad I wanted to mention about this. The bad was, and like I said, there were no malfunctions. I love the way it shoots and so forth. But the problem I was having was brass hitting me in the face. I had my arms fully extended, and the brass would basically shoot over and either hit me directly in the face. And I wear glasses. I mean, you should wear safety goggles anyway, but I wear glasses, and it would hit me either in my glasses or in my forehead. In some occasions, it would actually land on my bicep or my shoulder. So as the rounds were flipping out, it would flip and land on my shoulder. I don't mind the shoulder portion. If it lands on my shoulder or land on my arm and burn a little bit, I pretty much care about that. That's not a big deal. But it's reminiscent of another firearm that people complained about with when the casing was extracted and it pretty much hit people in the face. If you can remember what firearm that is. But that company straightened that issue out. And then I'm hoping maybe SIG would straighten that problem out or whatever the case may be. The other thing is, and I'm not an expert on this, but maybe it could be related to ammo too. One of the things that I've noticed with this. I was shooting 115 grain CCI Blazer full metal jacket. And the thing about what was going on is the first two boxes, the 150 in the box, the first two boxes, there was no problem with the rounds hitting me in the face at all. They just went straight over to the right like they're supposed to be, like it's supposed to extract. Excuse me, eject rather. But for some reason, when I got to that third box, the rounds were hitting me in the face. Now, I don't know if it's because it started getting dirty and it started pitching those directly back, or I can't figure that out. Maybe it was that box, it was pretty ammo sensitive. Not sure. I will experiment with that to figure that out to get a real concise answer for that. But like I said, the first two boxes of that CCI Blazer 115 grain, no issues. It just only started at the last box, and also at that time when you have about 100 round going into that 100 round count, what happens is the gun starts to heat up, and that's not a big deal. It was just warm. So I'm figuring maybe that there was something different. I don't know. I don't have a direct answer, but that is the only real issue that I had with that, with the casings coming back. Like I said, I will experiment with other ammo, and the funny part about it is my friend was at the range. He works at the range, and I said to him, he asked me how I liked the firearm. I said, I like it really good. And I told him about the casing hitting me in the face. And he says, you know what? I have three people at the range that are his friends. And they said they experienced the same thing with the casings coming directly back. And it's kind of weird because usually when you go to a range, you don't expect all your casings to be in front of you on the ledge where you put your firearm. It was roughly about I would say 15 to 20 casings that were directly in front of me. Those were the casings that hit me in the face. The other casings, of course, went over to the left. So like I said, that happened on the last box. And it wasn't maybe all the time. It might have been a little bit sporadic. Sometimes it was 3 times in a row, but I don't know. I have to figure that out. But in the meantime, I'm just going to say this firearm I really, really like. I will be doing a lot of shooting with this. May do a comparison to see how I like it versus my Glock 34. I'm not going to compare it to a Shadow 2. I'd rather look at it against the Glock 34 or even my VP9 long slide to see how they match up together. And that's probably the best competition for this particular firearm. 2 other striker firearms that are supposedly considered to be competition firearms. All right, well, that's all I have. Just feel free to give any comments or whatever you would like to do. Also, I just want to mention one other thing. A lot of people wonder if this is legal for IDPA or something like that. I'm not an expert on that. I can't give you an answer on whether it's legal because I did do some research and they said with this magazine it's not legal, or this was not legal. So I did a look at another video, The Humble Marksman. He does a video regarding this, the legality of using this in competition, and I'm going to put that link on there. I hope he doesn't mind since I don't have his permission, but I will put that link on there, and he is a really good shooter, and he does a lot of competitions, so he will best explain that. All right, that's all I have at this point. Happy shooting, stay safe, and hashtag 2A.